Hello, and welcome to Shane's Microscope. I'm Shane, and this is my microscope. Let's take a peek. Today's sample comes from my arm. I decided, after looking at some of those other really interesting hairs, that I'd go ahead and have a look at an arm hair. I've also got this goat hair lens brush. Why not look at a goat hair? And I threw one of my beard hairs on there. Let's check them all out. See how they're similar, see how they're different. Now under the microscope, let's start with my arm hair. Just like with the other hair videos, I'm gonna explore the beginnings and the ends of them with steadily increasing magnification. Now already I think it's interesting that the hair gets thicker as you move away from the beginning and then starts to get thin again as you get nearer the end. I'm curious what biological mechanism causes that to happen. Just as a reminder on the hair anatomy, the cuticle, from Latin cutis for skin, is the colorless outer part. The cortex, from the Latin cortex for tree bark, is the colored inner part. And the medulla, which, if you recall, was not present in my head hair, as I'm primarily of European descent, comes from the Latin medulla for bone marrow or plant pith. And that's that really dark inner material that's in some hairs. Alright, so now under really high magnification, we can see that some of the tissue has stayed attached to the bulb of the hair when I pulled it out of my arm. You can see the cells in there. Changing our focus lets us bring those into sharp relief and also lets us get a better look at the different parts of the hair itself. We can see here that the arm hair definitely has a dark medulla in the center. And interestingly, it has a blunt tip. My other uncut hairs, if you recall, had petered out to a point. Interesting. So this is one of my beard hairs. I think it's been about three and a half days since I shaved. I shave with an electric rotary razor. So you can see this has a sharp, slightly angled cut to it. And it is significantly thicker and darker than my arm hair. Still has some skin cells attached to it. This is just so opaque that it's difficult to look at the bulb section with a compound microscope. Interesting. Look at those ridges. I haven't seen that on any of the other hairs. That's really strange looking. And we can see that it does have a dark medulla. And there's that cut end. Alright, well let's check out that goat hair. Very much thinner than my beard hair. The goat hairs are popular for makeup brushes, artist brushes, lens brushes, because they're supposed to be pretty soft, among other things I'm sure. Well, there's no bulb on either end of this, but that's not terribly surprising. It's fairly uniform in thickness as we go from one end to the other, and we can see that there's no dark medulla. Get a good look at that cuticle. Well, I think it's really interesting that of all the hairs that we've looked at, the goat hair is most similar to my head hair. I wouldn't have guessed that, but you know, That's why, regardless of what you think something is gonna be, it's worth checking it out anyway. And I'm glad we did. Alright, well, I think we'll leave it there for the day. Thanks for having a look with me. Until next time, keep on peeking.